Hi, my name is Jenny Lynn Patterson-LaCour, and I am the founder and CEO of Jenny Lynn Fitness, home of Sweat. I've been an aquatic fitness instructor in NYC for the last 2 decades, and I'm currently working on launching my Sweat certificate program.
And I'm AJ Myers. I specialize in podcast production, web design, branding, and business development. And you're listening to the Aquaholics Bootcamp.
We created this podcast to interview guests who inspire and motivate us within the aquatic fitness industry and beyond. Each episode, we'll chat with them about what they're working on professionally, as well as get to know them a little bit better personally.
So let's dive in. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, AJ.
How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Definitely hanging inside. That's unfortunately true. Pools are closed, and it's anyone's guess when we'll be going back to any sort of normal, if you want to say. It's going to be a while. So,
Yeah, well, and that's why we sat together and we said, okay, we can't get to the pool. We can't do all of the video filming that we were going to do. We can't meet up in Daytona Beach for IAFC 2020. So what are we going to do instead?
Da-da-da. You badgered me into a podcast.
It's true. I did have to twist your arm a little bit, but I think that's because it's a new medium for you, something new that you haven't tried yet, and I get it.
Yeah, it's definitely new. I enjoy this. I'm excited we're doing it, and totally excited to interview some people who inspire us and then motivate us to do better and be better. So I'm really excited.
Absolutely. So what do you hope people will gain from listening to this podcast?
Definitely inspiration for those that might be in the aquatic fitness industry currently or thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope people can be inspired and take away some little tidbits and information either from us or from our guests or the combination of both.
And who are some of the people that are inspiring you?
In the beginning, I have to say, was Ashley Bishop. She's a close, dear friend of mine and colleague with the AEA, and she had already sent me this past Christmas a really, really good book, Good Morning, Good Life by Amy Landino, and I finished that in a matter of no time, which is crazy because I normally don't read, and I finished it really quickly and I loved it. I wanted to read more. Thankfully, Amy had suggestions, and then I've just been kind of reading more and more books, a lot of stuff that is self-improvement, but also about habit formation and developing good habits for your life. And so Ashley was a big one in the beginning. And of course, my husband, Chris LaCour, who is my biggest supporter, he's definitely inspired me just to be better and do better. So I definitely am excited to have him on as a guest.
Mm.
And, a lot of my favorites, I have to say, Mark Revelding's definitely going to come on, and we're going to get some other people that I've inspired through aquatic fitness, some of the instructors that are coming up in the industry and now joining us as training specialists within the AEA. So also hoping to get overseas and interview some people in England and Australia. So it's going to be really fun to kind of pick these people's brains, so to speak, and see what inspires them and also to keep ourselves motivated and inspired.
Absolutely. This is a podcast made by people who come from aquatic fitness background, but it's more than just aqua talk. It's why we decided to call this podcast the Aquaholics Bootcamp. And it's because it's more than just about people who love aqua and who are obsessed with aqua, but it's also about fitness and fitness of the body and the mind. And you recently celebrated a pretty huge victory in your life at this time, which I'm sure has been quite difficult given circumstances as they are right now, being locked inside.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't you share a little bit?
I really do love the name that we finally landed on with Aquaholics Bootcamp because I definitely am an aquaholic. I love all things aquatic. Previous swimmer, now into aquatic fitness. Love every single bit of what water brings to my life. But in the last 2 years, I have been sober. And yes, this quarantine lockdown has not been helpful. in that respect, but I can say that I've held true to my commitment to not drink, and it's been amazing living a sober life. And I know it sounds probably cliche or cheesy to say that because I know when I listen to people or would read things online about those that have been sober and just saying how wonderful their life was at the time when I was still drinking, it was difficult to read that, and so I was definitely projecting a lot towards those people like, "Oh, yeah, you say that, but blah, 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 you don't know." And now after 2 years of sobriety, I can say it's been really good for me to stay sober and to stay focused on what it is I want out of my life, and this podcast is something I think is going to continue to help me and hopefully others.
I love that. You know, what's funny about the name? We have some clips of us reviewing some of the old names that I thought would be really fun to play here. So here's us discussing some of the other names that we were debating before we landed on the Aquaholics Bootcamp. You say yay or nay as we go through this, Jenny.
Okay.
Okay. Jenny says,
Yay.
the Poolside Podcast.
Nay.
All things aqua.
Nay.
Just add water.
Yay.
Get wet.
Nay.
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 Aqua Talk with Jenny Lynn and AJ.
See, I still like that one. So yay.
Okay. Sweatcast.
Yay.
Jenny Lynn and AJ talking.
Ding, ding, ding. 100%. That's the winner.
Are you peeing?
No, I'm wringing out my tea bag. Man, you can really pick up a lot of these sounds.
I told you, anything you do.
Dang.
All right, I'm going to have to edit that out. So if you're just joining us, we just had to edit out the sound of Jenny tinkling her tea.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
So, in addition to talking to people who inspire and motivate us and hopefully others, we're also going to give people a behind the scenes look at what it takes to build a fitness certificate. And we're doing that now because at this time, you are currently working on your sweat cert.
Correct. I am trying to put all this content into some sort of practical sense right now. It's a lot.
It is, and this is going to be your first actual certificate on your own. Like you've certified people working with the AEA and several other programs, but tell people what your cert actually will be.
Yes, I definitely do some trainings in association with the AEA and do workshops through my company, Jenny Lynn Fitness. But this is my first certificate where I am trying to take sweat and create a certificate for people to then get certified with, and they can bring sweat to their facilities and provide it to their participants or offer it as small group training. Maybe it's something that they want to add a little more profit to their department. So it's going to be exciting. It's focused, as most people know, sweat is a boot camp, hence the podcast name, Aquaholics Bootcamp. And we're just going to try to basically convey how I teach. And we're figuring out how to replicate that, how to put it down, not just on paper, because as we know, we have to go to online programming right now so that people can see it, since live trainings are going to be delayed, for a better way of saying it. And so we're taking all this content. Obviously, I have a lot of materials over the last several years of teaching, presenting, and instructing. And I know you, AJ, have been a godsend in all of this and trying to get it organized. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be interesting to see how to lay all this content down and not just have it make sense, but also how to put it out there to customers who are interested.
Yeah. And this has been a long time coming. I mean, people have wanted to teach sweat classes themselves and become certified sweat instructors for quite a while. And I know that this summer, when we were at IAFC 2020, or had we been able to go, we were excited to let people know that this was almost ready to go. And then, as everyone else in the world has had to pivot, we had to stop and say, okay, we can't do in person workshops for a while. So, what are we going to do to make up for it? And here we are, having to pivot and put things online and build out online programming. Um, it's quite a challenge. But I think for other people who may be interested in building their own certificates, or people who are wondering what it takes to go into this, we may be able to provide some insight and lessons and things to do, things not to do, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I really do enjoy that part of listening to podcasts or reading books or articles, blogs, because you do learn the do's and don'ts. And I personally love learning the don'ts because then you can try to avoid them, even though I think stumbles or failures are necessary in the whole process. So I think it's just going to be a learning experience. And if we can share that with others, like you said, everyone's learning and growing from it.
So, speaking about the actual sweat cert, I know that one of the things that we debated internally was what sort of prerequisite skills people would need in order to become a sweat certified instructor.
Yeah, this has been quite a struggle for me personally, professionally, and I've talked to a lot of mentors. Lori Denime has been super helpful in giving a plethora of knowledge and experience that she's been going through. And what I've realized through going all the material, trying to figure out what sweat is, what is it that I do that we can market, and how do we make that applicable to people and for them to use, is that there is going to have to be prior aquatic teaching experience. I personally, being a part of the AEA and being a strong believer in the AEA, it is the golden standard. So a lot of my terminology that I talk about is from that. And I know the aquatic cert that SCW has, as well as some other organizations, have that terminology as well. But I want people to come in to the sweat certificate with a baseline of knowledge, whether that's your AEA certificate or an SCW or another certificate that maybe we work out together and deem that it is appropriate, in addition to prior teaching experience. I would prefer people coming in to have at least 3 to 6 months of being in front of people and instructing people, because a part of this, not just in addition to the terminology that you should already know and use in your classes, I want to know that when I give you an assignment saying, please show me these levels with these variations moving in these exercises or planes of motion, I shouldn't have to explain what those things are. You, as an experienced teacher, should be able to then, with the knowledge we're giving you from the sweat program, put that into a 3 to 5 minute video or whatever we're requesting of our participants to submit for me to review. You know, that's kind of part of the online process that we're thinking of incorporating. And I know that I might be cutting a base of my business by doing this, but I think to professionally and personally uphold what I consider the standard of sweat, it's a high intensity boot camp class, and there has to be a baseline of knowledge and experience involved with all of it.
What I'm hearing you say is that, people can't just show up, get the certification, and then say that they're a sweat instructor. If you're a land based instructor, for example, and you've never taught someone in the pool, so if you don't understand things like impact variations, for example, or how buoyancy and the density of water affects the body, then perhaps you're not going to be able to give the standard that sweat has set. Because that ultimately is what we're doing, is building a network of certified instructors who can not only teach the format that you specialize in, but also bring their own touch to it, and really bring the brand of sweat and genuine fitness to their facilities.
Absolutely, because every single instructor has their own personal flair to their teaching, and that's the beautiful part of having so many different types of instructors. And I know each instructor is gonna bring such awesome dynamic movement to their style, but at the same time, just like any other format, there are certain standards or ways or a system to doing it. Because the whole thing about sweat and what sweat stands for is structured water exercise training. So there has to be a certain structure in place in order for us to give a high intensity workout.
Mm. And without that structure, you don't have sweat. You just get wet.
This is so true. I have to say it's been really awesome because during this lockdown, quote unquote, a lot of people have reached out and said, I really want to get sweat certified. And so I've definitely given a lot of colleagues and people that I know within the aquatic industry information and kind of said, this is going to be coming out now, at this point, and so stay tuned. But there's been people that I know who have no prior teaching experience. Maybe they teach swimming lessons or something on that level, but they've reached out and they want to do it. And I'm like, this is so exciting. I really would love to have you on board, but please make sure go to the AEA now, get certified because you can get the AEA certification online. It's all on the internet now to, easy access for us to get certified. So if you go to aeawave.com, you can start the process now. So by the time we have sweat built, you are ready with your certification in AEA or whatever water specific certification you can get and start teaching right when, the gyms are allowing us to reopen. So it's just there, the process can start even if you haven't taught yet, or maybe you're teaching land now and want to get to water. I'm always happy to work with people case by case, like I said, but reach out to me and we'll make it happen.
Well, that's a great place to pause. If anyone has any questions for you about the actual certification process or what's happening next, we want to hear from you. So if you have questions about that or anything else any of our guests may talk about, please reach out to us either on social media or through our website, jennylinfitness.com. And we'd love to include your questions and hopefully be able to answer them right here on the show.
Any questions, like AJ said, you can reach through our website. You can email me directly, jennylyn@jennylinfitness.com. For those of you who might already kind of be in your own process of building your own cert, or maybe you have your brand now and you're building your company, which is super exciting, and you need more help, whether that's with your web development, as we've been talking about, AJ is the guru to go to. So made by Myers, MEYERS.com, or AJ at madebymyers.com is the way to reach him, and he will make everything look shiny and bright.
Well, that's interesting too, because as part of your sweat cert, we're also offering branding advice,
Mhm.
assisting people with how to build both a market for themselves, but also a niche where they focus on what it is that they want to focus on and how to attract those types of clients.
Mhm.
Um, and those are things that have come with time that you and I have worked together for several years on building. And I'm very proud of our empire, if you will, because in a lot of ways it started with both of us learning. It started with you and me sitting down in a conference room saying, where do we see ourselves in 5 years?
Right.
Where do we see ourselves in 10 years? And going from there. And it's really been an amazing experience.
Mhm.
Another adventure that we have gone on together, just like this podcast.
And more to come.
And more to come. So, Jenny provided some of that information. Of course, if you are looking for us on social media, you can find Sweat at Sweat NYC on Facebook. It's Sweat, S apostrophe WET by Jenny Lynn Fitness. And of course, on jennylynfitness.com/podcast, where these episodes will appear, and several other places. So that about wraps us up for this first episode. Jenny, it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to many more to come.
Many, many more. Thank you so much for listening and stay hydrated.
We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for listening to the Aquaholics Bootcamp. For more content like this, go to jennylynfitness.com/podcast.
And please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your audio content.
See you next time.